Welcome back once again, all of my low carb friends, and for those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. Today I have another very easy keto recipe for you. Today we are going to make keto oat fiber bread. Now this recipe is not my own. I am not familiar with baking with oat fiber, so I've always wanted to try it and see if it was something I liked, so I figured rather than waste a bunch of expensive ingredients, let's find somebody who knows what they're doing when it comes to oat fiber and whose recipes have some good ratings. So this is what I found. The original author is by another YouTuber called Low Carb Recipe Ideas. So this video more or less is an experiment to see if we're gonna like oat fiber and if it's something we would like to add to our low carb pantry. And if you'd like to know more about oat fiber and oat fiber recipes, just leave me a message in the comments and I will see what I can do about that. And if you're new to the channel and you want to see lots of easy, delicious, low-carb keto recipes, make sure you click that subscribe button, click the notification bell that's right next to the subscribe button. That way you can be notified every time I put out videos, at least every Wednesday and Saturday. And if you'd like to help support the channel, make sure you scroll down in the description of the video. You'll see some affiliate links. Anytime you purchase anything using those affiliate links, a small portion of your purchase will go to me and help support the channel. So while you do all that, let's get cooking. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees, line an 8x4-inch loaf pan with parchment paper, and allow the paper to hang over the sides just a little bit so you can easily remove the bread once it's done baking. Lightly spray the parchment paper and the sides of the loaf pan so your bread won't stick, then set the pan aside for a minute. In a large mixing bowl, combine 120 grams or around 1 cup of oat fiber powder, 9 grams or around 1 tablespoon of instant dry yeast. This is strictly for flavor. It does nothing to help anything rise. It's just to help your bread taste a little bit more like traditional bread. Add 120 grams or around 1 cup of finely ground golden flaxseed meal. I use golden flaxseed meal because it gives the bread a better color in my opinion, but if all you have is dark flaxseed meal, you can use that. It's just going to have a darker color to your bread. Also, when I buy my flaxseed meal, I re-grind it in my coffee grinder to make it very fine. That way you have a smoother dough, which results in a smoother bread. Add 15 grams or around 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 5 grams or around 1.5 teaspoons of xanthan gum or psyllium husk powder. This is going to help hold your ingredients together. It's also going to give your dough the flexibility it needs in order to expand in the loaf pan and make a nice fluffy bread. Add 56 grams or around 7 tablespoons of egg white protein powder. And if you want to, you can add some dry herbs or dry spices to give your bread a little bit of a different flavor. Sift everything together until everything is fully combined and there are no lumps in the dry ingredients. Add 45 milliliters or around 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. This is not going to make your bread taste like vinegar. It's strictly to help with the density of your bread. The apple cider vinegar reacts with the baking powder and causes a little bit more gas bubbles in your dough, which helps your dough to be a little bit lighter for a little bit lighter density in your bread. Add 260 milliliters or around 1 1/3 cups of room temperature water. Stir everything together until everything is fully combined. Add 300 milliliters or around 1 1/4 cups of very hot or boiling water. You do need this to be very hot or preferably boiling. This is going to help soften the oat fiber and the flaxseed meal so you have a soft dough, which will give you a soft bread. Stir everything together until everything is fully combined and you have a moist, sticky dough that forms. Scrape down the sides of the bowl and push the dough to the center of the bowl and form it into a tight ball. Your dough is going to be sticky and moist, but it should easily release from your fingers. It shouldn't be like glue on your fingers. Scoop the dough into your prepared loaf pan. Then use a spatula or a butter knife and evenly spread the dough throughout your loaf pan. Make sure you get it as even as you can and keep the top as smooth as you can. Place the pan in your preheated oven and bake at 350 degrees for 1 hour or until the bread is golden and a tester comes out clean. After the bread is done baking, remove it from the oven. Allow it to cool in the pan for at least 30 minutes so it can firm up. After about 30 minutes and the bread is firm, Carefully grasp the overhanging parchment paper and carefully transfer the bread to a wire rack, then allow the bread to cool completely on the wire rack before slicing. Once the bread is cool, you can slice this into your desired size slices. And if you want to, you can top the bread with some butter or some toppings of choice, or make it into a sandwich, however you want to use your bread. All right, so here is my loaf. I cut a little piece off so you can hopefully see the inside of that. As you can see, my loaf is very deformed on top, but I think that's just because I didn't do a very good job of spreading the dough when I was putting it in the pan. The dough's a little bit more sticky than what I'm used to, so I just didn't really do the best on smoothing it out when I put it in the pan. So I don't think that's the recipe's fault, that's my fault. So the first thing I noticed was the inside of this it has a real nice texture and it has a nice crumb in it, but it's got like a kind of a moist residue. It's not wet, soggy, nasty, gross, but it's got a little bit of residue, moisture on it. It could be that I needed to cook it maybe 1 or 2 minutes longer. It doesn't look like it's not cooked, so I don't think I undercooked it, but or maybe that's just how it's supposed to be to help retain its moisture, because oat fiber is very absorbent. So maybe it needs that little residue to keep it the texture of bread. But it smells really good. It looks like bread. Like I said, it's got that nice little crumb. It's got a good texture to it other than that little tiny bit of a moisture. So here is my slice. I don't know if you can see that really well. I just cut a thin slice just for taste purposes. I slapped it in the microwave for about 10 seconds, put some butter on it. It looks good. It smells good. This could be interesting. Yeah, that is good. That has a good flavor to it. I like that. Yeah, I'm still a big fan of my coconut flour bread, but this is really good. And if you want something different than coconut flour, or you're not a huge coconut flour fan, this is a very good alternative. It has a good taste, good texture, and make a really good sandwich. And it tastes good just like this, just with butter. I like it. I think we have had a successful experiment. Okay. You can eat this bread immediately. If you do have any leftovers, allow it to cool completely. Store it in an airtight container at room temperature for up to 3 days, or in an airtight container in your refrigerator for up to 1 week. Or you can freeze this. If you are going to freeze this, make sure you slice it into individual slices before you freeze it. Then place some parchment paper in between each one of the slices and place them in a Ziploc freezer bag or a freezer-safe container. Then whenever you want some bread, you can just take your desired amount of pieces out and let it thaw out on your countertop, and you can freeze this for up to 3 months. Eat and enjoy. And that's our recipe of the day. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you click that thumbs up like button, click that subscribe button, leave me a comment if you want to. Let me know if there's any recipes that you'd like to learn how to make, and I'll do what I can to get those out there for you. And as always, keep cooking.